Inland Australia, they're desert creatures. They live 10 to 15 years in captivity if you take care of them well. Bearded dragons do 80% of their growing in the first year. So see, this dragon is in shed. See how its head and its tail are a different color than its body? Their skin doesn't stretch like ours does. So as they grow, the top skin dies off and then it peels off. If you're feeding them well, this is what they do the whole first year. You very rarely see them where something's not shedding. Their metabolism runs really high. In the next 6 months, they do the rest of their growing. So it only takes a dragon 18 months to do what it takes our kids 18 years to do. Baby bearded dragons need a minimum of a 20-gallon long tank, which is 30 inches long, okay? The reason for that is dragons have to do what's called thermigation. They don't release heat from the top of their head and their feet like we do. So their whole body has to be able to move from the hottest temp they need it, which is babies, is 115 to 120, to the lowest temp that they need, which is 80 to 85. So if you put them in anything shorter than a 30-inch long tank, if they're at 115 here, it's not an 80 or 85 here. It's too hot. They can't thermigate it, stunts their growth, their metabolism won't run well. So you need at least a 20 long.
If you have an adult, recommend a 20-gallon for babies.
They need a minimum 40-gallon breeder, which is 36 by 18. I keep mine in 36 by 24. I like big dragons. I just do. So most of my adults are 22 to 24 inches long. So I keep mine in the custom 36 by 24, so they've got plenty of room to turn around. And the 18, if they're 22 inches long, they got 4 inches of tail that's banging up when they're laying sideways. But a minimum 40-gallon breeder tank is what you want for an adult. Dragons are omnivores. They have to have greens and vegetables and protein. A lot of people will tell you that you can stop feeding protein every day when they're 18 months. I wait till they're 2 years old, just to be on the safe side. But until they're 2, they need greens and vegetables and protein every day. Once they hit 2, you can do every other day because their metabolism slows way down at that point. The dragons need a lot of UV. I do not like the compact bulbs because then they're only getting UV right here. I prefer the tube bulbs. You want to offer UV over 2/3 of the house. I prefer the Zoom Ed. We have a UV meter. We test all the time, and the Zoom Ed bulbs tend to hold their UV power nicer than some of the other brands do. There's 2 types. There's a T8 bulb. Hey, baby. There's a T8 bulb that's been out for years, and it puts out about 95 on the UV scale out of the box. In the 4 months, it's lost 20 to 25%. So they tell you 6 months, but you should change that bulb every 4 because you want the metabolism in your dragon that needs that UV to process its food. They came out with a new bulb at the beginning of last year called a T5 10.0. They test at 135 to 165 out of the box, and at the end of 7 months, they were all still putting out 100%. So it's a little more expensive to do to start, but in the long run, you save money. My power bill went down by about $100 a month when I changed mine all over to the T5s. So you've got a lot of reptiles, it helps. But even one, every little bit counts. This particular fixture is one that my Thomas designed for me because I didn't like the ones that were out there. It's lightweight. It zip ties under your screen because if your UV's on top of your screen, you can lose 25% of your UV screen. So it zip ties, and it's got my basket spot too, so it's just one color. I like it because it's simple and easy, and because it's giving them the UV. Dragons need hydration, even though they're desert creatures. My younger ones I do every day because they shed. And this shed, when it starts to peel off, feels to them like sunburn feels to you. It's just very itchy and aggravating. It causes them not to want to eat as well. So I have little tubs like this that are just about this tall and about an inch and a half lukewarm water. And I set them in there in the morning while I clean their house out and get their greens and everything for them. And so if they're thirsty at that point, they'll drink. And then I know they're getting the hydration they need. If you put a water bowl in your house, those dragons don't see that well. That's why they lick at everything. It may tumble into it, and it feels it, it relaxes, it poops in it. You're not home, it happens to tumble back through, it decides to take a drink, and it's getting the bacteria from the food in its body. So that's why I don't keep water bowls and dragon nets, I just take them out of the tub. If you eat greens and veggies, I have a nutritional sheet. The page I gave you has my website on it. On the bottom of my front page, it says downloadable PDF. One is a nutritional sheet. It's color coded. It gives you everything from alfalfa to zucchini and all your nutritional properties and how often you can feed it safely to the dragon or not feed it to it at all. Anything under 12 inches, crickets that are properly sized, because you should never feed a dragon a cricket bigger than the space between its eyes, and phoenix worms. I personally do not use butterworms, and I do not use waxworms or mealworms. They're all very, very high in fat. Yes, they have protein, but they're very high in fat. My pet peeve, substrates. Please do not put your dragon on anything that's mobile, that when it licks, can get in its mouth and go into its tongue. I know they have all these fancy quirks and stuff out there, but oh, this is the best thing for a bearded dragon. Bearded dragons don't see that well, so they lick at everything. They get it in their stomach. Even if they're big enough that it doesn't impact them and kill them, that's grinding in their stomach for days with their food, so it impedes the way they can process their food. So paper towels, reptile carpet, some people do just like tile, butcher paper, craft paper, newspaper. You just do not want anything that they can lick and get in their mouth. No walnut shells. I've had several people go, well, I quit using sand, I'm using walnut shells. Dragons lick. If a walnut shell cuts their lip and they end up with mouth rot, it's extremely expensive to cure if you can cure it at all. Okay? So nothing that's mobile on the bottom of their house.